Kevin, to kick the question to you, do you think that Tom can lead the Buccaneers to back-to-back Super Bowls despite all of the injuries that Tampa has faced this season?
So, in regards to this game, I think that this is going to be a clear-cut favorite. I think Tampa Bay Buccaneers win this game handedly. Now, we know the journey that they had to go through last year, being in the wild card and having to play every game away, obviously favoring all of these NFC teams in which outside then again the majority of these teams play in domes. Dallas, Arizona, and LA all play inside. So I was going to say with weather conditions, this is where Tampa would want to be the one seed because the Super Bowl, or excuse me, the NFC has to go through Green Bay. But getting back on track, Tampa being at home for the majority of their games, unless they play Green Bay in the final of the NFC Championship, is going to bode well for Tom. Tom's used to playing in the frigid cold because he played in New England for 20 years. I think that Tampa is going to make a run. I think that Tampa actually falls short of an actual Super Bowl appearance, but that's neither here nor there. We're focused on the NFC wildcard matchup. The Bucs are going to win this game to me, and this is why. The Eagles' offense relies upon running the football effectively. They led the league in rushing yards per game with over 160 yards. Tampa's defensive prowess, their biggest strength on defense, is stopping the run. And they've proven it every single week that they just know how to stop the run. Their passing defense might not be the greatest thing in the world, and God knows that their pass rush can get to the quarterback as well. But there's one thing that the Eagles cannot do, and that is make Jalen Hurts drop back and throw 30-plus times. We all know that he doesn't make the greatest decision, and his field vision is not the greatest either. Now, you can chalk that up to him finally now just playing a full season's worth. You can say that the Eagles' offensive weapons outside of Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert are questionable. But as a quarterback in the NFL, there are just some throws that you have to make. And through the season, you can see when it is on Jalen's shoulders to make good throws because the run game was limited at the time, he was not able to do so. So I think even despite the injuries to Tampa's offense and even some players on defense, I think that their road to repeating does begin with a victory at home. And I think that it's going to be possibly a double-digit win. Now, this is my girlfriend's team. This is my girlfriend's family's team. We've been together 3 years. I pray that they don't chop my throat when they see this or, when they hear this. But let's be honest. The Eagles' defense is up and down all season as well. Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time, throwing for over 5,000 yards at the age of 44. I don't really see the Eagles finding a way to get this victory, especially if Tampa is able to limit that run game.
Well, I mean, I guess it's probably a good thing that you guys don't have a place yet, because if she were to see this, more than likely you'd be sleeping on the couch whenever she'd see that. So
Or
it
with
may, it
Sabo.
may, it may kind of work out in your favor in that regard. But as
Maybe.
far as the game is concerned, yeah, I mean, Tampa should win this game fairly convincingly. But as far as the question goes, can Tom lead the Bucs back-to-back Super Bowls despite all the injuries that Tampa's sustained this year? I'm going to say probably not, because when I look at Tampa last year, even though I thought Tampa's road to the Super Bowl last year was more difficult than what this one could potentially be, at least Tampa, from a health perspective, they were fine. Everybody was relatively healthy throughout that entire playoff run. And really, that's kind of the biggest thing that you have to kind of keep in mind with a lot of these teams that are trying to make a Super Bowl run. Really, one of the best features that a team could be as far as being a possible Super Bowl team is whether or not that they were healthy throughout that playoff run. And in Tampa's case last year, they were primarily healthy. That's what gave them these big road wins last year in Washington, New Orleans, and then in Green Bay in the NFC Championship game, and even in the Super Bowl as well when they had the home game in Tampa. Now, going into this season, or going into this postseason, excuse me, that is not necessarily the case. Tampa has been riddled with injuries throughout the entire year. And not just like one or two players. I'm talking about multiple players. And they've been out for extended periods of time as well. I mean, we've seen Carlton Davis out a couple of months. We've seen Antoine Winfield Jr. miss a boatload of games. You got Chris Godwin is out for the year with the torn ACL. Antonio Brown was hurt with an ankle injury 2 to 3 months out of the season. And then he departed from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers after,
Departed.
yeah, after that whole Jets debacle. So, and that's only just a couple of names that I've been throwing off the top of my head here. There have been a lot of nicks and bruises, nicks and dings that Tampa has faced. And even despite that, to their credit, they finished 13-4, and as the number 2 seed in the NFC, that's definitely worthy of respect. It's just, I don't put a lot of faith in Tom being able to overcome all of these injuries that Tampa has faced throughout the entire year. I think at a certain point, you just have to kind of look at the roster and say, does Tampa have enough weapons on the offensive side of the ball to get all the way back to the Super Bowl and potentially win it? I don't really see it happening. I think that they could possibly make the NFC Championship game, but getting to another Super Bowl, I think, is out of the cards for them, just because I think that there are some other teams in the NFC that are more well equipped to get to a Super Bowl. Really, the one team I'm kind of thinking of off the top of my head is probably the Green Bay Packers. And it's not despite the fact that they're the number 1 seed in the NFC. It's just that by and large, they are a healthier team than Tampa currently is. And I think that's going to play a huge factor moving forward. Now, I do think that Tampa has a good shot of staying competitive throughout the entire run that they have in the playoffs. It's just that I don't think Tom is going to be able to single-handedly carry this offense to another Super Bowl run this year. I just don't see it. I could see possibly them making the NFC Championship game, but I think outside of that, I don't think a Super Bowl run is in the cards for Tampa this year.